So welcome back. We are Arya Nagarjuna investigators still. And we're starting our study of the Supreme Garden of what?
Wisdom.
Supreme Garden by the commentary by Gyaltsab J on String of Precious Jewels by Arya Nagarjuna. So we are still Nagarjuna investigators. It is November 12th, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do, so that we can open up to receive from those holy beings, those insights that can help us help others. So bring your attention to your breath. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And there they are, gazing at you with their unconditional love for you. Smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiating from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how it seems like the worldly ways we try to help fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so we turn our mind to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please teach us that, show us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in studying this text and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in studying this text and the rest, may we realize Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in studying this text and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. All right. Dream Garden. How do I get us up across the top of my screen?
Do you have a little white bar in the middle that you can pull it across?
I think as a host, she doesn't. But do you have a view? There's sometimes this main view and have many on top.
Yeah. Which one
On top.
recognizes what? I have a slash, I have a box, I have 2 bars, and I have a grid.
In the corner there should be view, and you could be able to change the view to side by side gallery.
Yeah.
Side by side
Next to recording there should be a button view, and then you could pick side by side gallery.
Okay, I have to stop share to get to that. There it is up here. Speaker gallery, multi-speaker immersive. Multi-speaker?
Uh, I think
Nah.
gallery.
I think it is different for Lama Sarani since she's the host.
No, I have that too. I have speaker gallery,
Oh,
multi-speaker.
okay.
But that doesn't put you up across the top. Oh, well, I wanted to make the text as big as I can for you guys, but I still want to see you.
Yeah, try the text now on your own gallery. See if that helps. I think either way, whether it's gallery or multi. Are we on the side now for you?
I have you in a box on the side.
Is there isn't, because you're a speaker, I don't know what that looks like. There's not like a white bar in the middle in between?
No,
No?
no. I can move us around. And I can make us bigger, which is what I usually do. Okay, so well, let's look at our text and see if you can see it, if it's big enough that you can see it. The Supreme Garden of Wisdom, Gyaltsab J's commentary to the String of Precious Jewels. Root text by our hero, Arya Nagarjuna, circa 200 AD, with commentary by Gyaltsab J. Dharmarinchen, 1364 to 1432, translated by Nicholas Lashaw, with Geshe Michael Roach. Da, 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 da. Okay, can you see it? It's pretty small. It's okay?
You can, in the document that you're sharing, there's down in the, there's this 100%, there's like a zoom for the text. Down, 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 on the bottom of the document.
What
Ah,
did I
no.
just do?
It looks like a slide, and then you slide it to the plus.
Yeah, on the bottom right.
In the corner on the bottom, next to the 100%.
Yeah, this bar about screen sharing is blocking all of that. How do I get rid of that?
You can push it to the top. You can move that one.
Ah, yeah. Oh.
Mhm. Oh.
Okay, got it. Wow.
That looks nice.
Okay. But now we can't see the whole thing.
You can use the slide a little bit on top of the zoom that you just used. There's the gray bar, the big one in the document.
Ah.
Yeah, if you move that a little bit so we can get this more
Oh,
centered. Yeah.
okay. Well, then there can't be any more than us because that's all I can get on my screen and still see. All right, we'll try it out. So, Miss Janet, you're at the top of my screen. Will you start us off here?
In the Tibetan? No, you don't want the Tibetan.
If you want.
Herein
No.
contained, here, I don't mind. Herein contained is the work entitled Clarifying the Essential Meaning and an Explanation of a String of Precious Jewels, Words to a King, composed by our protector, our protector, Nagarjuna. Well, that I wouldn't have translated it that way. I know he did. This was composed by Gyaltsab J, but Mula Maria Makakarika was composed by Nagarjuna. Unless he talking? Oh, he's talking about a string of precious jewels, words of a king. All right, so this is a different text.
Yeah.
String of precious jewels, words to a king, composed by our protector Nagarjuna. I would have said Arya Nagarjuna, but there.
Me too.
Okay.
But it's not in there. Akba's not in there. Yeah, we're so well trained. Okay, then, Joanna, please.
Residing within the purest garden of pleasure is firmest a tree of great intellect. Its roots compassion, it cares for all beings. Within its cooling shade, its branches spread wide, the brilliance of the highest Dharma, bloom flowers of extraordinary qualities, who bear the supreme fruit of pure deeds, fulfilling all of the hopes of disciples, to my glorious teacher, who is none other than this wish-fulfilling tree, sage of all sages, I forever bow down.
That's nice. So we're going to be trees when we're Buddhas. Big, beautiful trees. That sounds fun. So of course, these are the rough notes of the translation that's ongoing now, right? Elsie, please.
Thank you, Lama. While perceiving that nothing comes nor goes, you discern the golden path to bring disciples to the supreme state while residing in the state in which projections have been put to rest. From your compassion heart you emanate to dispel the darkness from disciples while perceiving the entirety of the essence of the oceans of teaching. You distill it to its single essential meaning. I bow down to the one called Nagarjuna, free of obstructions, renowned as the second Buddha on this earth.
What's he talking about here?
Well, I think that the first one, he was bowing down to his teacher. It had to have been Tsongkhapa, right? And now he's saying that he's bowing down to the person who wrote the text, which is Arya Nagarjuna.
Yeah, and what qualities is he pointing out about Nagarjuna? What is residing in the state where projections have been put to rest?
Emptiness.
Emptiness to be
Experiencing emptiness directly, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is like a synopsis of the whole text that we read previously.
Yeah, in a sense.
I have a rather formal question. I thought the second Buddha to be walking on earth is Maitreya.
Well, when they say second Buddha, referring to Nagarjuna, I understand that they mean sharing, the one who's sharing what Shakyamuni Buddha shared again in a way that's in a way that the population at that time was ready for. So yes, it's true, the next Buddha to come to our earth, which is not it's the second Buddha who will walk on our earth, but the fourth Buddha in the line of 1,000, right, is Lord Maitreya. But when they say second Buddha Nagarjuna, they mean as if Shakyamuni is showing up again as Nagarjuna, but they don't mean a reincarnation of Shakyamuni. They just mean the one who's bringing the teachings to us. I'm not getting it across. Again. Whereas there wasn't anybody between Buddha's time and Nagarjuna's time that was really bringing the whole teaching the way Nagarjuna came to do.
And who is then the third one? If Maitreya will be the fourth one, do they mean Tsongkhapa is the teacher who is bringing again the teachings?
Shakyamuni was our third. It was our first one on our earth to do it from a human body. But in the sphere of the earth, he was the third in the line. So there have been, no, I don't understand. Out of the thousands that are, we're supposed to get 1,000 Buddhas. We're only on number 3. In the era of number 3, Lord Maitreya will be number 4, if I understand it correctly. But this is different.
Mm.
Mm.
So Gyaltsab J, is telling us Nagarjuna, seems to me like he's saying he sees him as this wisdom being, because at least he's saying he has seen emptiness directly. Right. Probably more.
Reading. Yes.
Janet again, please.
Yes, books and expresses you.
These books that express his views are pure white, free of stain, and all of his speech is supreme. So after all these years of being exhorted by the words of the holy, with great joy I undertake to contribute any bit that I can.
Uh-huh. And so do we.
Yay.
Yeah. And
So it goes.
And so it goes that I heard this word directly from my own spiritual guide, the one who cherishes above all the teachings of those gone to bliss, the one who explains them and achieves their results, his already complete collection of extraordinary qualities getting even higher. And he takes especially those living beings without any protection as the objects of his holy compassion. Oh.
So this is Gyaltsab J writing. So now who is he talking about?
His teacher would be
Probably Jetson Kappa, right? Okay, Elsie.
all of us here and now have achieved the leisure of an excellent body and mind. If we don't practice with particular focus on goals which come after this life and beyond, which is vastly superior approach than any taken by the elders of this world. Our minds are no greater than that and those of animals. We must work hard to take the essence of this body and mind, this leisure and fortune that are so hard to find.
Proof. That's why we're here, right?
Yes.
Yay. Janet.
The Buddha taught that the offering which satisfies the victors like no other is when the great classical texts, the words of holy beings like the victors along with their sons and daughters, strike you as personal advice and you make them your main spiritual practice, focusing single-pointedly on accomplishing them.
Okay. I'm thinking about that. So, at the end of every translator class, they spend that 10 minutes saying, how are you going to use this as personal, in your daily life? and in their DCI training, they teach you how to, what do they call them? Diamond mining, where you find some personal advice out of something. Brilliant, right? It's just brilliant. So then this would say when you're doing your offerings and your preliminaries, include in your offering some diamond mining thing, right? I don't really relate to that myself, but if there's some piece of some scripture that's like, wow, that stuck with me and I do this because of that. This is saying most powerful offering. That's not so hard to do. I can remember to do it. That's the hard part. Where are we? Jana?
Yeah, I think so. Now, as I embark on this mission to explain of the string of precious jewels, the middle way which clears the path for our journey to the higher realms and the supreme state of total excellence, I shall do so in two parts, the introduction to the explanation and the actual explanation.
I always wonder why they include Journey to the Higher Realms and the Supreme State of Total Excellence. Right? Geshe-la teaches us don't aspire to the higher realms. So I don't really understand that.
The human realm also counts as one of the higher realms, and maybe just to have the good fortune to be reborn as a human, which obviously
Maybe.
isn't so easy.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I was wondering the same, if we really get reborn like in the demigod realm or even in the god realms, I mean, we are doomed. Why are they higher realms?
Right,
It's just like such a short pleasure somehow.
right,
Quite a high price.
right. But then there's also the form and formless realm. And it's like they're also sort of doomed.
Hmm.
And the only thing I think of is like, well, maybe it in order to help the beings there, you got to go there. And so maybe you could be in the form or formless realm, but not be a form or formless realm being as a Buddha. But it just like, no, that doesn't make sense, because when you say all sentient beings, you mean all sentient beings, even the ones that are in the form and formless realm. You don't have to go there specifically. So I don't know. But I like your point that to get a human rebirth does take some specific effort. Okay. Elsie.
The first of these have two parts, presenting the brilliance of the author of the classical commentary and presenting the classical commentary that he composed.
Right. Janet, please.
Here is the first, the one revered as Nagarjuna the Realized, was prophesied in Journey to Lanka, Sutra of the Great Cloud, Sutra of the Great Drum, as well as the root Tantra of Manjushri. The prophecies foretold that he would hold the teachings after the teacher passed to his final nirvana, and particularly those sutras like Journey to Lanka prophesies that he would spread the teachings of the Able One in their complete form that he would achieve the level called happiness and that he would go to bliss.
Yay. Just looking at the footnote. I'll do this one since it's short. The lamp on wisdom says that Master Nagarjuna achieved the state of the holder of the diamond during his lifetime by practicing the path of unsurpassed yoga. Woohoo!
Does the footnote say anything about the unsurpassed yoga? What's meant with
Unsurpassed
that one?
yoga is the highest yoga tantra,
Oh,
the fourth level.
oh, okay.
Not that you have to do 1 through 3 to get to 4. Right? You can do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So when we in our lineage, when we enter into tantra, we enter into highest yoga tantra, the unsurpassed class. Your
Oh, okay.
Buddha, your medicine Buddha is a first level tantra. Vajrasattva is the way we got it is the first level
Okay.
tantra,
Okay. Thank you.
as yoga tantra.
So many
Another
things to look
footnote,
forward
I'll
to.
let you read it by yourself. Okay, got it. That's a note to Geshe Michael to himself. You know, if I go down one more, I'm going to lose the page. There, no, there we go. All right, I forgot by now whose turn is it? Joanna.
This is something that we can understand from the scriptures themselves, as the journey to Lanka puts it. To the south, in the land of Pata, there will come a glorious monk of exceeding renown. He will go by the name of Naga, and he will destroy the positions of they exist and don't exist.
We know what they're talking about. Maybe we don't know exactly, but yay, right? Elsie, please.
Thank you, Nana. He will take my way and explain it in the world as the greater way, the unsurpassed. He will attain the level
Let me see if there's more. There you go.
of perfect happiness and pass to the heaven of bliss.
Nice. Let's check out this footnote 3, shall we, to see if that it's gonna explain perfect happiness and heaven of bliss, or just give us another reference. Oh. All right, I don't quite understand the significance of that.
It said Naga that he would be referred, so half his name
Yeah.
was there.
do they refer with the heaven of bliss, like the 1,000 angels living in the heaven of bliss, to Ganden, to the paradise of Shakyamuni Buddha?
Must,
Would that must?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. You know, these two, perfect happiness being capitalized, I'm guessing then it refers to one of the bodhisattva levels. I don't know the names of those bodhisattva levels off the top of my head. But it's like it's saying he reached that one, and then he reached the heaven of bliss. So my guess, it's pointing out that he didn't just become Arya and reach nirvana, but he became Bodhisattva Arya and reached his total Buddhahood. Is the implication here that I would, from what I understand, I would say, oh, wow.
May I have a question to
Yeah.
that?
Uh-huh.
When we become Buddha, we will have our own Buddha paradise. But as a Bodhisattva, I mean, like when they describe the paradise, there's always the Dharma and everybody's sharing the Dharma with each other, and they are said that there's the Bodhisattvas there. So we could, I mean, like, it would implicate to me that as a Bodhisattva, we could be there. We are not fully awakened. But when we are fully awakened, then we are not going to Ganden except to visit Shakyamuni Buddha to have a cup of tea, right? To hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, is it
Yeah,
possible
so-
for a Bodhisattva to go to?
Right. So I think that we're thinking of to go there in probably
physically.
the wrong way. And that I've heard Geshe Michael say that an Arya Bodhisattva can go to an enlightened being's paradise. And it seems he means that when that Bodhisattva Arya is in deep meditation, right, they can have the experience of being there in a Buddha's paradise, partaking of the teachings, right, learning. And it will be a real experience. Maybe it's more similar to like us in a dream, right? They could experience themselves there. They wouldn't be able to experience themselves there and here at the same time yet, probably. So it would have to be in deep meditation or maybe in their sleep. Maybe it's happening in sleep.
So like when they describe Asanga was in with Maitreya for him it felt like few hours and he came out and was 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then when we think about our own Buddha paradise and other Buddha paradises, it's, you know, it gets so hard to conceptualize. And as I try to think of it, I think, well, the Buddha me is perceiving all things. So Buddha me is perceiving my paradise unique to me. And within it, all the beings within it are Buddhas with their paradises unique to them, that I'm perceiving unique to me. And I'm perceiving the way they're perceiving their own paradise, if they're perceiving paradise. And if they're not, I'm perceiving what they are perceiving. You know, and so it's like, well, then where does my paradise end and their paradise start? Right? It has to do with from which direction it's being looked at, but then even that's wrong because you're not really little specks in the middle of something. Although it seems like that when we say I'm Buddha me in my Buddha paradise, it feels like I'm in the middle of something, right?
Hmm.
And there probably is that kind of experience, but it isn't, it isn't, as a Buddha, it wouldn't be experienced as your reality, just an aspect, right, of what's going on,
Hmm.
of what's happening, of what's ripening. So really, it's worth trying, like, to get it, because as we get it, we go, no, that's limiting, right? It's got to be more like this and more like this and more like this, and it challenges our ability. It challenges our
Hmm.
ability to conceptualize, to get bigger and bigger.
So from my seeds, I wonder if if going into another realm, the higher realm, and passing to the heaven of bliss has to do with Poa. Because when you die, you go to the formless realm. And then you could go to the teaching realm, in theory.
Yeah. You know the
Hmm.
yeah, so like I don't know from the story. Well, yeah, I guess I do know from the story. Nagarjuna did die, did manifest dying. But what did he experience from his side? No, the untrained, unprepared way of dying. Still, it's the case that the winds and mind withdraw. And then blank out for a period of time. And when that blank out ends, there's the what they call the clear light, which isn't a light, but it is a clear it is a clear absence. And untrained, we don't recognize, like untrained, we can't even really perceive it. Something happens, and then our very subtle wanting for more me, self-existent me, is what sends us, what shifts into the perception of what we call Bardo. The being who's Bardo probably doesn't go, wow, I'm a Bardo being, right? They just are like, this is the next experience, is what we describe as Bardo. So it's not really form or formless realm, it's Bardo. It's in between any realm. And the impulse that propelled that experience that we're calling Bardo continues to propel until the whole next life has taken shape, whether it's a human life in a womb or a helping life or whatever, in which case it could be a form or formless realm life, with the exception in that experience or that explanation is that if your seeds are pushing you into the formless realm, there's no Bardo to go between. But it's not that everybody goes into formless realm and then comes out into their next rebirth, just to be clear from the words that Janet used. So, right, if we know Nagarjuna's history, wasn't he the one where the prince is trying to kill him and he can't, and he got the sword and he can't, and Nagarjuna goes, oh, you need to kill me, don't you? Yeah, okay, well, take a blade of grass. Isn't that Nagarjuna? And then with a blade of grass, it's just and his head rolls off. And presumably he dies. But I think if you go on with the story, the head comes back together and it flips the prince out and he transforms in blah, blah, blah. But Yeah, at what point do you have to die? My point is, do you have to die to pass to the heaven of bliss? And the whole thing about learning to identify ourselves as this empty being, like all of our emptiness and dependent origination, rather than a me who has emptiness and dependent origination. When we identify with the process, we recognize that we are transforming moment by moment. And that our transformation, the change in our transformation as an ordinary being is so slight that it gives this consistency of, me and my life. But when our identity is in this wiser way, more accurate way, we see that this transformation could be like swift and fast and complete. And it doesn't take this body dying to do it, because there really isn't a this body, right? It's just the seeds for this body. And you change the seeds, you change the seeds. You don't have to go through the seeds of dying in order to change this body. And that's the point of the highest yoga tantra, is learning the methods of how to perceive our self and our world and our interactions in such a way that plants the seeds strongly enough for that transformation to happen before we experience the thing called this body dying. However, that does not necessarily mean that other people in our world won't experience this body dying, because our transformation may look to them like this body dying, but our experience is no transformation. But it doesn't even have to happen that way. Okay? It could just happen and nobody experiences this body dying. But all of it starts by going through that doorway of experiencing emptiness directly with a mind imbued with bodhicitta.
I mean, Nagarjuna was willing to give up his body and life to help someone,
Right.
which, that's, I guess, at
Bodhicitta.
another level, you don't have an issue doing that.
Right.
When they cut off his head, this white liquid came out. And I was like, well, is that like Vajrasattva, this white purifying liquid? Is he
Nice.
doing a purification in
Yeah.
doing this? Because he said he killed the mosquito with the blade of grass, so this is purifying that.
Yeah.
And then C, they said that the head and the body would come back together.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Huh.
Like, I have trouble figuring out these symbolic things, and I think I figure them out wrong from what my Ne Lama says. But after like a while, hopefully it won't take decades. We
I
could
think you're
have,
doing a good job.
well, but you're helping us unlock stuff because you see things too. I mean, you see things, sometimes they come to you in a flash. So I guess we'll cook on that. We'll cook on
Yeah.
this thing about what people do when they're at a high level.
Right. They love us.
If it's true these books are white seeds, I thought the teachings were they're never in this realm, there aren't white seeds, it's always white and black. So this is an exception then, that these books are white, totally white.
Well, that it seems that we need, when we say things are white or black karma, It's not in them, from them, that they're white or black karma. It means coming out of my mind or going into my mind. And if my mind is still stained with the belief in self-existence, which it is, then even these texts, my experience of these texts, I'm misunderstanding their existence. And so the seeds that I'm planting are dirty good karma. So I think when they say these are, the only pure thing in our world, it's a little slippery, because that's implying that they are some existing thing that is itself pure, and there's no such thing as a self-existing thing that's pure. So maybe when they call it pure karma, it's like, of all the things that we could do, even as we're planting dirty good karma, to study a text that's said to be a pure karma would be like a really powerful thing that we could do. But it isn't really right to say that this text is pure karma, if we're talking about pure as a karma that can't perpetuate suffering, that is not suffering or the cause for more, which technically is not karma at all. It's merit. So, not sure what you meant.
No, I keep forgetting that things are coming from my own side.
Yay, and so this text is pure. Thank you, Janet. You let slip. You've been faking it all along. Being ordinary being. All right, now I'm all distracted. I need to go back, sorry. So Buddha's prediction is this guy is going to come who's going to explain my teachings as the greater way, the unsurpassed, right? And that guy will go on to achieve perfect happiness, that Bodhisattva Bhumi, whichever one it is, and then go on to pass to the heaven of bliss. All right, another thing comes through.
I mean, if it's joy, joy is the first one. If perfect happiness is joy, it's the very first.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know all of them. But you know what, there's also, so I just explained the highest yoga tantra says you can reach your Buddhahood before this body dies. But you can also you can also reach the level of transformation that's not complete, but is high enough to then go to the angel's paradise and finish your completion there. And so maybe that's what this is saying, that he did reach this first Bodhisattva Bhumi, and then when he paid off the last killing of the mosquito with the blade of grass, then he passed into the heaven of bliss and he finished his transformation there. That could be what this is saying. But we'd have to know that that was possible, right? In order to know that that's what is being said. So thank you for the teachers who teach us that stuff. But either way, Buddha's saying, this guy's going to know what he's talking about, and he's going to go on to reach his Buddhahood in that life, through that life. Which is probably why there's not a lineage of Nagarjunas, right? They're emanating. He doesn't have a one that's reincarnating to keep going. I always wondered why there wasn't a lineage of Nagarjunas, or why there's not a lineage of Jetsunkapas. like reincarnations of Jetsun Carpet. When we have our other lamas who are supposedly Buddhas and they send back their emanation, but it's like, wait a minute, this is kind of fishy. Okay. So middle way. So I'm going to do this short one too. As for the prophecies mentioned above, do not think to yourself that it's contradictory to say that they are referring to the way of the perfections or the way which is shared. Don't think that it's contradictory. So he's not teaching something other than, I mean, he is teaching this thing that comes to be known as the middle way, but it does not mean that it doesn't include the way of the perfections, the Bodhisattva way, and the Hinayana way. It's not to disregard the other teachings of the Buddha. Okay, I don't know where we are. Elsie, we'll start with Elsie.
Sorry, thank you, Lama. Here is the second part. Master Nagarjuna composed many classical commentaries that are shared with the classical sciences, the 100 treatments, for example. He also composed many Buddhist books that are found upon the secret that are founded upon the secret teachings as well as the way of the perfections.
Okay. So Nagarjuna does teach that other stuff too. And Janet, please.
I mean, he's giving him credibility. He's saying
Mm.
it's not like this guy didn't know about the six perfections and the path.
Yeah, good.
He's saying this guy knows.
You
He
know.
established that the literal meaning of the scripture of our teacher is the path of the profound middle way. Composed many presentations of the path, which were vast compilations to the sutras of the teacher, and demonstrated as well ideas like that in the end, all paths are one.
Nice. Eventually we'll all get there. Phew. It's break time. Do you want to break? I need one. Okay, Joanna.
Shall we take a break, Maserani? If you want one? You want a break? Okay. His presentations, which established a profound middle way using reasoning, include works like the root text on wisdom, the 60 verses on reasoning, stopping all argument, the 70 verses on emptiness, smashing mistaken ideas to find dust, as well as this classical commentary.
Elsie, please.
With the exception of establishing conventionality, of which only a few lines are found in the commentary to the Jewel of the Middle Way, his complete work has been translated into Tibetan.
Nice. Hey, there's our incomplete text. Hey, there's the other guy we're studying. We're in the right place. I don't know what this all is. I'm so sorry.
I
Okay,
think
Janet.
they're just talking about that they went from Sanskrit to Tibetan, and they
Okay.
listed some of the stuff.
Thank you.
The translators love to go back to the Sanskrit. They just love
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some praises state that while there are admittedly sutras which discuss emptiness, there aren't many at all that prove it with reasoning. If we summarize even these classical commentaries that teach us reasoning, we can group them into two: those that mainly teach suchness through dependence, or those which mainly teach that liberation from the cycle of pain comes from the path where we realize freedom from extreme views.
Okay, so somebody tell me the difference between this suchness through dependence versus liberation from the cycle of pain from the path where we realize freedom from extreme views.
I mean,
What do you
the two extremes of thinking things don't exist or they do exist evidently is a no-no. This is why we should not teach emptiness to people, because then they misunderstand it as things don't exist or they do exist. And Arya Nagarjuna covered that in the last class we had. He warned us about the two extremes.
Right, but studying the two extremes to understand what they are and when they're happening would help us stay in the middle way. So wouldn't we be able to use teachings like that to reach liberation?
Yeah, but if everything's coming from our own side and people don't have the seeds, they're just going to struggle with it, which isn't fair to them, that they'll not want to do it anymore with this thing that things don't exist or they totally exist. And the
Right.
middle way is, in some ways, the middle way is going back and forth, and that just confuses people. If you taught us one way, why do we have to serve and do good deeds? And then why do we have to look at everything with emptiness? That just confuses them.
Yeah. Because it keeps seeming like it's one thing or the other, right?
I mean, I had it with my friend. I told her I wanted to look at the divine with emptiness, and she was extremely offended because
Yeah.
she just saw it as this wonderful thing that you would pray to the divine and, you know, put your trust in God,
Right.
and she didn't recognize that maybe we were projecting on what God is, but that's not coming from her, that's coming from me.
Yeah.
So
Yes. But so this is saying we can use reasoning in two ways.
I think I look at it as we should understand, or we should look at it as there are people who solely depending on like prayers
Did we lose you?
to a deity to solve the solutions, rather than to look at it as, oh, it's coming from me, it's from my own doing. You know, we need to accept that there are people who are like that, like people who look at being a vegetarian as something that is required by the religion, and it's not because we want to prevent killing. So that we have to accept these views, as long as they only have that level of understanding or that level of wisdom. And we for me, if I were to talk to people about no, going vegetarian is to prevent killing and all those. So what I did was, one day, my argumentation, what my argument was, I said, yeah, you can take meat. You can take meat, provided there's no killing in it. That there's no killing involved when you can consume the meat. It says, what? Buddha never told us to be vegetarian. I say, yeah, but Buddha tells you not to kill. So that is what I see from here. I don't know whether my views are correct.
Yes, Joanna.
For me, it was always helpful to, like Nagarjuna did in the wisdom text, to show us the misunderstandings or where we fall off the cliff, either one or the other side, because it's the worldview that makes us choose the behavior.
Right.
And then the knowing about dependent origination helps us understand the consequences of what we chose to do. So this is those two sides of the medal.
Yeah.
To see, on one hand, if I believe this way and act upon it, then it will have consequences, not for the others only, for me mainly. I mean, the others, they also have to bear the consequences, but especially me, I have to wear it, and then it will deepen the wrong choices somehow.
Nice.
And he wasn't teaching us the behavior, he was just teaching the cliffs. I just get
Right.
aware
Just-
of the
Right.
wisdom text. It was just like, do you really think that? Oh, maybe.
Right. Find your cliff, right?
I
Find
have
the edge of
not-
our cliff. That's what that text
Yeah.
was about. Nice.
Yeah.
So here we go. Who read last? I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Janet, is it your turn?
In some ways, that class Monday too about fire kind of was about dependent origination, but they didn't really talk about it that way. But I think we knew. They talked
Right.
about how you needed the fuel to have the fire.
Right.
And then I guess we talked a little bit, you even had to have the anticipation of having fire to have that
Right.
fire happen too, unless I guess it was spontaneous, like lightning,
Yeah.
causes a fire. So was there any anticipation there? Probably not, but then Ariana Karsana would say, of course there is.
Of course there was.
That lightning came from your own side.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that class on Monday was definitely about how things depend on other things, because it was talking about the four elements from the perspective of having one of them. Can you have one without all other three? That's why it kept talking about only the three, because it was saying, how can one element be an element if it isn't in relation to the other three? And then if you don't have the one element, then you don't have all four elements. And if this one depends on the other three and this one doesn't exist, well, then you don't have the other three for this one to exist. So it's all or nothing. You know, exactly like the firewood. To have fire, you have to have fire and fire burning and the me perceiving it, and it has to be all happening together. And the root text wisdom was showing us that it's all happening, right? It's all arising karmically, not sequentially, not what's the other? Not spontaneously unrelated. It can only be coming out of the perception of the one who's perceiving it. And we were just getting ready to go to the place. Well, at what point do I perceive it, right? With time and karma and all those next chapters. And then I lost the goodness to be able to get it directly. So still working on that one. Do I have Janet frozen?
I switched my internet.
Oh, okay. So you're up. Let's examine first.
Let's examine the first. The functionalists in their assertion of labels. Is that what they do? Find that the person and the parts of a person exist through some nature of their own. A point which is referred to in the Mula Madhyamaka Karika.
Right.
When they tried to prove that point, they used apparently fine arguments, but smashing arguments to find us refutes their 16 kinds of reasoning.
Okay. Those must be the 16 kinds of reasoning. I see 16. All right, all right, all right already. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having all this here. I know we have more English. There it is. Joanna, please.
The two books, Stopping All Argument and 70 Verses on Emptiness, are just extensions of the root text on wisdom. They don't stand alone as classical commentaries that teach the system of the middle way in its entirety.
Ah,
There are 70 verses on emptiness.
yeah, you know, I might have that by the Dalai Lama. It's translation. I'll have to look. Okay, Elsie, please.
In the first of these works, in the section that begins with the words, if all functioning things, we can see an argument about the idea that in a world where everything is empty of any nature of its own, then the way things work is impossible, including things like refuting or proving. This is just an extension of the verses in the first chapter of the root text on wisdom, where it says, the self-nature of functioning things.
Well, that's kind of fun. All of our reasoning can't work in the way that we think either. Which is why we use it. But remember, when we say functioning things, it means we think there's something there and there's something else that's there, and that this thing there has some ability to change this thing that's there. And it seems to have done so. But, right, we know the logical analysis that can never happen. The moment can never happen. For this to be the cause of this as the result, this result has to be already here. But now that the result is here, you don't need the cause anymore. So was the cause ever a cause or not, right? We went through all of that. And we thought, wow, we're using our reasoning to catch on. And guess what? We're thinking of our reasoning in the wrong way too. Which doesn't mean it's not happening. Because it doesn't mean that this didn't happen. It just didn't happen the way we thought. I have to keep reminding myself. All right, who's up? Janet?
The second of these works is an extension of the section of the 7th chapter, where it says that things are just like a dream and illusion. It is a reply given to an opponent who claims that if we deny the three ideas that things could start, stop, or stay through some nature of their own, then the scriptures which mention them must be incorrect.
Not sure the significance of that. Joanna?
As for the works that mainly teach that liberation from the cycle of pain comes from the path where we realize freedom from extreme views, the 60 verses on reasoning describes that even achieving the fruit of an enemy destroyer requires realizing that dependence is empty of any nature of its own.
Okay, so talk to me about what it means dependence is empty of any nature of its own.
So even if we say A is the karmic cause for B, it's not in the way that we think.
Right, because
I
how
don't
are we
know.
thinking? That there's some self nature to karma. The karma is a thing that works like this. See yourself do this, it imprints your mind, that brings out. We're somehow holding that whole process as being something that starts, stays, and stops. Something that's a functioning thing. Well, if it's not a functioning thing, right, how can it work? But if it is a functioning thing in the way that we think as soon as we say the word functioning, it can't be. So an enemy, in order for a listener or self-made Buddha to reach their nirvana, they have to see emptiness directly. They just don't have bodhicitta in their heart. They don't have Mahayana bodhicitta. Samadhi would correct me. So they have come to directly perceive the no self nature of all existence, including themselves. And that as they're on their path of habituation towards the end of all their suffering and seeds for more, they have to come to realize that karma itself is empty of self nature, that there is no such thing as karma itself. There's only the process happening, all dependent on each other, all arising happening. So to reach nirvana, we need to come to that same conclusion. If dependence has some nature of its own. Then
I have. mm,
then it seems like the exact thing that I did to another would be how it would happen to me. There wouldn't be any nuance. There wouldn't be any unique to me. Karma would say, you call somebody stupid, then that seed ripens as the exact circumstance that you did has to be repeated, because that's what was, it had its own nature. When it went in, when it made the seed, it had its own nature. Me calling them stupid. So then when that ripens, it would have to be me calling them stupid again in exactly the same way, in exactly the same moment. Right? It doesn't make sense for dependence to have its own nature. And we go, yeah, of course, it's changing. But come on, karma is the thing that makes everything. But we're thinking it's a thing. A rule, a law is something we come to realize is not accurate, right? Karma is as empty as everything else, and so it works. It is an important piece.
Is it part? I never thought about it yet, but omniscience means we exactly know what other people need to take up and give up in order to reach their own enlightenment.
Right.
When we see emptiness directly is part of seeing emptiness directly, which I understood always. You have the direct perception of emptiness, so you see that there is a lack of self-existence to everything. But do you also see dependence? Like, do you understand when you see emptiness directly those mm, various interactions that are going on in the process? Is this
Yeah.
part of nirvana or omniscience?
Right. So if I understand, when we're in the direct perception, you can't say you know anything else or you're experiencing anything else. You're simply in that absence of self nature of all existence.
Hmm.
And then when you're out of it, or when you're coming out of it, I think that's when the knowing the ramification of what was revealed happens. And my guess is it's not in so much thinking, oh my gosh, that happened. Oh my gosh, that happened. But rather it's this deep knowing that I can't get what I was trying to say. Knowing that any appearance like is this seed ripening is the words we would use, but I don't think it's at words level that this awareness is happening. Based on having gone into that direct perception from having seen a seed ripen. And then you go into, oh my gosh, nothing exists in any other way than that. And then you come out of it and like deeply realize seeds and nothing but of everything and anything. And then that means then that if even what our anticipated goal is our own nirvana, then that informed that whole experience, and that's what we're headed to. And if our bodhicitta informed that whole experience, then it's omniscience that we're headed to. And then in omniscience, we do describe it as we know what every being needs to give up and take up. And I think that it isn't so much like you, Buddha Joanna, will look at Finn and go, oh man, I know he needs to wear his black shoes, not his brown shoes today. And if he does, right, he'll have a better job interview than if he doesn't. It's not like that. I think it's that the omniscient mind is directly experiencing their path to freedom and what it's going to take. And we planted those seeds by having gone through our own. It's like I don't know what I'm trying to say. I forget where we started this conversation.
I was just thinking, why is the omniscience part connected with the bodhicitta? Because if we see emptiness directly and we would have the direct perception of emptiness, we would then at least know for ourselves what we have to take up and give up, because no, we wouldn't.
No, we don't yet.
We
Not
only have
the
to,
details, not the specific details.
So we wouldn't be able to perceive, like omniscience also has we perceive everything at all times,
Right.
for everything at the same time. But in nirvana, it's only the cessation of our haha. We would be cool to be there already.
Right.
But it's the cessation of the mental afflictions. But this part of really knowing, even for myself, for that one, I would need bodhicitta
to get
to get
omniscience.
to Buddhahood.
Right.
Yeah.
We need the Mahayana bodhicitta, the wish to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. Bodhicitta just means the wish to reach enlightenment. So
I would have to wish to have it for everybody in order for myself to understand what I need to give up and take up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you need those two bignesses, right? In order to ripen omniscience, we need that wish that's like infinite even.
So the enemy destroyer, which is the arhat, seen emptiness directly, only again, and perfect, perceives that dependence is also empty. So karma, or if we do this, then this will be there. The direct connection, even this one has no nature of its own.
Right. Which is how it can be true, which is how it can happen, which is how it can work. If it had some nature of its own, it couldn't work.
But it doesn't tell us yet what we have to do,
Right.
because we still don't understand the deep connections of karma, only that it's not self-existent. Because if I would understand the deep connects, then I would be omniscient already. But I can't be omniscient if I'm in nirvana.
No, but just understanding the deep connections isn't the same as seeing directly what caused, you know, every crevice in the wall that you're looking at.
Mm. Mm.
Right? We can know the process really well, but not be able to perceive the
causes.
details of karma.
But this is the problem that I usually have when we say in our teachings for like the people who are starters, do this and you get that.
Yeah.
We get a pleasant result, but what kind of pleasant result we get, we actually would never know. Even if I give a lot of money, it doesn't mean that I get money back.
Right. That's correct. Technically, that's correct.
Mm.
It's not like give apples, get apples. It would be give something nutritious, we get something nutritious, but maybe it doesn't even mean orally nutritious. Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Something sustaining could come back.
Mm.
Which, thank goodness it's like that. Because otherwise we'd have to give enlightenment to somebody in order to get enlightened. Right? We'd have to give emptiness directly in order to get emptiness directly, and then it would be impossible. But if we can
Mm.
give some new experience to somebody and go, wow, you know, I dedicate that to a new experience. And maybe it comes back as an opportunity to go someplace you've never been before, or maybe it comes back as seeing emptiness directly, right? How we work with those seeds will
Mm.
could help guide them in how they're gonna influence our mind, I guess.
I haven't been able to find it, but it wasn't that long ago. But one of Gibson's classes, he had that formula. You subtract your projections to
Yeah,
get to seeing emptiness.
yeah,
But then if we have a mixture of white and black seeds all the time, it seems like this purification process is ongoing. And then you said to me to do Vajrasattva and see if that helps.
yeah.
But we're almost like in a trap where we're black and white. We try to purify, but in purifying, we're still creating some black seeds.
We are.
So
That's true.
it seems like, well, then how do we get to the point where we're not projecting anymore? And then it comes down to good deeds, but our good deeds are mixed. And so I feel like it's like this trap. We just can't get out of it. We could do the good deeds, but they're mixed seeds. And then you said, well, just try Vajrasattva for now. Because that's what it recommended in the texts, was to do
Mhm.
purifications of the four powers and Vajrasattva. That was their recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess we could think of it as we can be replanting seeds that are mostly black and a little bit white. Or we can be replanting seeds that are half and half, or we can be replanting seeds that are just a little bit, a sliver of still black, which if we are going to decide to do this thing called the four powers and this thing called Vajrasattva visualization and those 100-syllable stuff, there would have to be underlying us either a really strong devotion to something we don't understand at all, or a deepening level of understanding of what's underneath these things that we're doing, that it could in fact benefit me. And that's whiteness overcoming the blackness. And true, we can't get rid of all the black until we've seen emptiness directly. And then we can start getting rid of all the black. But if we used to plant our seeds with 99% black, 1% white, And now we're planting our seeds with 99% white, 1% black. We are on a roll. So it's a rejoiceable rather than being trapped, which helps us plant our seeds in a way that gets us out of the trap eventually. And then, of course, turning that on to getting out of the trap for the benefit of the others, that because of my black seeds, I'm still seeing in the trap. My motivation to want to help them get out of the trap is what helps me get out of the trap. How selfish is that? But I have to try to help them to get out in order for me to get out. And as a result, eventually everybody gets out. Because in trying to help them, they help me, right? So eventually they'll come to see. You'll come to see that you're helping me. And then those are really good seeds, right? We're all helping each other. Allows us to all get help. Allows us to all give help. That's why we're studying. All right, so it's important to realize that emptiness or dependence is empty of any nature of its own too, he says. Okay, who's up? I forgot.
I think Elsie.
Elsie, please.
The reason he gives is that even the scriptures of the lesser way says that the Buddha clearly describes the two subtle forms of lack of the self. He starts off his discussion by demonstrating that it would be incorrect to say that we would manifest that state of nirvana if we do not realize directly that the parts of a person are empty of any nature of their own. Thus, this would constitute a comprehensive denial of the views that things exist from their own side and that things don't exist at all.
Okay. All right, lack of self-existence of me and lack of self-existence of the parts of me. Understanding then that the me and the parts of me that are here, that do arise, are coming from results of my own behavior. And Iona sees that too. Here's a short one, I'll do it. Unlike the previous two scriptures, this one is not a mere extension of the root text on wisdom. It is rather a complete classical commentary on its own. And Janet, please.
This classical commentary, while admittedly containing an extensive explanation of how the higher realms are the results of causes, is mainly about how, whether we've entered on to the path of the higher way or the lesser way, we can still achieve nirvana. But there is an extensive presentation of how we still must realize that the person and the parts of the person are empty of any nature of their own.
Good, yay. Joanna.
This is just to say that these subjects are what that work is primarily presenting. But there are different ways of approaching the same points presented by the root text on wisdom. Entering the middle way establishes that it contains extensive teachings on the steps of the path of the greater way.
What commentary are we talking about? The one that we're reading?
Master Chandrakirti is entering the middle way.
Yeah, but when we're saying this classical commentary, are we talking about the one are we talking about the 60 verses? No, that's not a commentary. Are we talking about the text that that we're reading? I'm confused.
Yeah, I think it's this text that we're
This
reading.
text. Okay. So our own author is saying this text is the classical commentary that's going to be doing these things. Okay. And the two subject matters is the emptiness of person and parts of the person that it's going to focus on. Okay. All right, so here we go, the actual explanation. Janet, please.
Well, okay, so Gelsip has a commentary about the jewels. So this is his commentary on that, and he just happens to mention the root text on wisdom because that bleeds into everything somehow.
Right.
The second part, entering into the actual explanation, has 4 sections of its own. The meaning of the name, the translator's obeisance, the meaning of the text, and the meaning of the conclusion.
Okay. Which is the string of jewels has those 4. All right, here we go. Joanna, please. Whoopsie.
In the language of India, this work is entitled Raja Parikata Ratnamali. In the language of Tibet, it is called Gyalpo Ladam Java Rinpoche Drengwa. Needs correction, I think. In English, the title of this work is A String of Jewels, Words to a King.
Yay. Elsie, please.
First of all, the Sanskrit word Raja is the equivalent of the Tibetan word Gyalpo, meaning king. The word Parikata in Tibetan is Tamchawa, which means words or a letter. Ratna is Rinpoche. Rinpoche in this meaning jewels, and Mala is Trengwa, which in English string.
Right. Janet, please.
Some claim that this work is general advice for kings, and that letter to a friend was written as advice for King Udyabhadra. Others claim that this work is an explanation of advices for northern King Salyavahana. The commentary's position, however, is that this work was composed as advice for King Udyabhadra.
Nice. Bye, Badra. Here is the second. I bow down to all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Here it says Buddhas. The third part has three parts of its own: the introduction to the explanation itself as it was set forth, and the conclusion. Joanna, would you like to do the Sanskrit just for fun?
I can try.
Yeah, use this one, not that one.
Sarva dosha vinyamuktam gunai sarvair alankirtam pranamya savainam ahan sarva satvaika badavam.
Wow, well done.
Bandavam.
And now the English for us.
I bow to the one who is free of all problems, the one adorned by every good quality, the sole remedy for all living kind, to the all-knowing one.
Yay, I bow down to them too. Holy Mother. The first of these has two parts: the offering of praise, the pledge to compose the work. And the first of these has three parts: the practical purpose, the meaning summarized, and the meaning of the words. And the first of these is divided into perfect fulfillment of his own needs and the perfect fulfillment of the needs of others. Okay. Janet, please.
In terms of filling his own needs, he is an extraordinary object. Motivated by faith and having completed the praises, he undertook to compose this classical commentary and will accomplish everything necessary to bring it to its total completion unless interrupted by death.
Here who's talking. Janet, please go on with this little bit.
As far as fulfilling the needs of others, listeners and so forth who follow after him reach their ultimate goals. In the expanded list, there are actually 8 qualities.
Thank you. Eight qualities. This is likely referring to the 8 qualities of an enlightened being, of which fulfilling their own needs and fulfilling the needs of others are the last 2. The list of 8 is as follows: 1, the unproduced; 2, spontaneous; 3, not realized through any other means; 4, has knowledge; 5, has love; 6, has power; 7, has fulfilled their own needs; 8, fulfilled the needs of others. We came across that recently. Oh, that was Uttara Tantra, wasn't it? Knowledge, love, and power. Here's the second part: the praise and the prostration. How the praise perfectly fulfills his own needs and how it perfectly fulfills the needs of others. They keep you in short. The first of these consists of what is given up and the 2 realizations, explained successively in the first 2 lines of the verse. Shall we go back and look at it? What's given up in the 2 realizations in the first 2 lines of the verse? Let me see if I can find the verse. I bow to the one who is free of all problems. So that which he has given up, the one adorned by every good quality. What did it say? The two realizations. The sole remedy for all living kind to the all-knowing one. I think we need to remember that because he's probably going to talk about it. I like a paper book. Went too far. There, okay. Joanna, please.
How he fulfilled the needs of others is demonstrated in the third line of the verse. Briefly, the one who we call omniscient is realized and has fulfilled both of the needs. By virtue of the good qualities that he possesses, he is a teacher superior to all others, the perfect teacher.
Boy, all that in that one verse. Isn't that lovely? The second part, the prostration, is expressed in the latter half of the fourth line. Elsie, please.
Briefly, we need to understand that the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, in his mind stream as well as those who practice correctly, meaning the Sangha jewel, are objects of refuge. Having faith in and going for refuge. To these is the very root of all the teachings on what to practice and reach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, karma and emptiness and everything. And so how shall I, right? What do I do? Here's the third, Nagarjuna, beginning by bowing down. Who is he bowing down to? The all-knowing one who holds in his holy mind each and everything there is, however many there may be, exactly as they are. So that description of Buddha's omniscience, right? All-knowing one means that. But remember perceiving appearing nature and empty nature simultaneously, right? When they say exactly as they are, it's so big, really. If you were to try to describe to yourself seeing whatever you see outside your window exactly as it is, how would you describe it? Yeah, you almost can't do it, right? It looks like a ficus tree. But it's a ficus tree unique to me. From this perspective, the whole history I have with this ficus tree that nobody else has is included in my every perception of the ficus tree, even if I'm not actively thinking, well, I remember when it looked like this. And perceiving that everything about that thing I'm calling ficus tree is blank, empty, available. And so available to be whatever's there in the next moment, which just happens to still be a ficus tree. Like you'd never be able to stop trying to explain what's there, what's not there, what can't be there, and what could be there. That's what exactly as they are means. But when we hear the words, we go, wow, Buddha will say, that's a ficus tree. Because he knows exactly. Ficus benjamina. You know, it's like that's not what exactly means at all. And right, I rush over it when I read the reading. And then when I go back and go, wait, what's it really saying? It opens up a whole nother can of worms. So we're out of time. I don't think I have a way to bookmark this. And I can't print on it, can I? No. Oh,
It
yes, I
says,
can.
yeah, it says on the bottom, page 37. So, I mean, guess you could go by page number.
Yeah, I'm gonna make what kind of symbol shall we have? Dollar, no, they use dollar signs. And sign? How about and? That'll be where we're looking for. Now I just need to remember that in page 37. Okay, can we get it?
You want to put the date too, just so we know which and sign?
Great idea. Good.
Wow.
I wonder if that'll stay. Okay. So good for us. Like we made some effort to try to understand these precious words in a way that will help us contribute to the end of suffering. And that's such a great thing to do for a couple of hours once a week or more. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that we can hold in our hands. Recall that precious holy being. See how happy they are with us. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And then carry it with them right back into our hearts. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone we love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with wisdom, filled with loving kindness. and may it be so. All right, thank you, my dears. This will be a fun journey, won't it? Good test of ourselves, our growing wisdom. See how it helps us. Thanks very much for your help.
Thank you for teaching. Please stay
Stopping
safe.
recording.